On February 12th of 2021, Lemming released a game that would change the course of virtual reality forever. On the surface, it didn't seem like much. A brand new, original title with some mechanics that allowed you to move around using only your hands. However, the twist on that is that the mode that was featured within this game was tag, which is how we got the birth of Gorilla Tag. This game was the X factor that, when combined with the affordability of the MetaQuest 2, catapulted virtual reality into a second limelight, where it became mainstream and allowed for everything within this game to go viral, turning into a completely new niche on YouTube. From classic Let's Players to Shorts creators, Gorilla Tag was recognizable even by those outside of the virtual reality space. And a couple years later, it's still maintaining its consistent player base, with revenue grossing in the 100 millions, and a recently released article from Upload VR shows that Gorilla Tag still has 1 million daily players. The game even received praise from Meta's beloved ex-CTO John Carmack, stating, "Wow, many in the field both inside and outside Meta were hostile to Gorilla Tag because it didn't look like their version of VR success. When the market is talking though, you should listen." And listen, the market did. With new fan games, a birth of a new genre in horror games, and a continuous thriving in the YouTube space, it seems like nothing is going to top this thing, with absolutely zero studios coming even close to the success that Gorilla Tag has had. So then what? What is going to be the next step that virtual reality takes in order to relaunch itself back into relevancy as we enter 2025? With mass studio closures and even Meta struggling to keep the market afloat, who is going to step up and provide the funds that would allow for an even bigger game than Gorilla Tag to explode into the limelight? Well, everyone, I can finally say that we have an answer. The studio that will take VR on its next opportunity will be another Axiom. Now, I know what I just said might be a bit shocking to those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. And for those who do, here we go again. With the shutdown of Echo VR on all MetaQuest platforms, Lemming, the creator of Gorilla Tag, with his new team, Another Axiom, saw an opportunity in the air. Lemming himself, who had actually been an ex-Echo VR champion, wanted to give back to the community their so dearly loved and cherished VR esport. And so, in the next coming months, Lemming and his team, comprised of new developers and former employees of the Echo VR development team, created a draft build for their project that they codenamed A2. And then shortly after, announced it to their new but fastly growing Discord community showing interest in the project. And in addition, they also announced First Look, which would be an event held in Las Vegas, where people from all over the world could travel over to Las Vegas to try out the first build of Project A2. Then, a couple weeks later, they released some gameplay and screenshots showcasing what they had been working on. And with all this information, the community went ballistic. Hype had shot through the roof, and everyone was excited to see what Another Axiom was going to achieve with their new game. But all of that paled in comparison to the hype that the Echo VR community brought over, considering the fact that they had just lost their favorite game and were now being brought back into the limelight thanks to one of the biggest developers in virtual reality. And with that being the case, they all forked over their hard-earned money to buy a ticket to Vegas to go test out A2. The First Look event was probably one of the most important events in Project A2's history. Here, the developers had a direct chance to speak to the community that they were trying to appeal to see what they wanted to get out of their game and what their vision looked like for the perfect VR social experience / esport. And as someone who is personally from the Echo community and got to attend the First Look event, this was a very special moment for all of us, as our tight-knit community finally got to get together and actually meet in real life. In addition to testing out the early build, they also held smaller panels in other rooms where you could deep dive in on a specific subject so they could gather feedback and use it in development. And once everything was said and done and the Echo community had gone back to our respective homes, Another Axiom hunkered down, went back to work, and went radio silent. For the next couple of months, there would be no new announcements from Another Axiom on development progress. All they focused on was making this game as amazing as it could be and continuing to gather feedback from their new testers taken from the A2 Vegas event. And almost a year later, the community had gotten an announcement once again, showcasing everything that they had been working on. The main highlight of this announcement was introducing the Orion class orbital ring, a complete upgrade from their previous lobby known as a station. To quote their own description, the Orion is a massive cylindrical spacecraft, providing artificial gravity at the outer edges and pure zero-G at the center. The Orion is subdivided into unique districts. At each, you can compete against other teams or complete challenges, playing co-op, solo, or competitively, and it's not alone. The Orion floats through the galaxy amongst an armada of other orbital stations. And in addition, they also mentioned upgrades to the mechanics, spectating replays, community building, esports, and another mystery mechanic that will receive its own section in this video. Combining that with some concept art and screenshots, we also got a statement from another Axiom that's probably going to be one of the most important phrases in virtual reality, which reads, "We believe that making the game for the community with the community is the best way to build games." And not too far after, another Axiom would announce what A2 would become, which would be Orion Drift.
Options abound, looking for an opportunity. Breaks away, finds a gap in the defense, takes the shot. Oh, what a save! Only seconds left. Pass across, goalie bite, shot, goal! We've got a new champion!
Scrap run countdown. T-5 in the parkour district.
With the announcement of Orion Drift, we finally got to see our first legit look at what another Axiom took from the A2 Vegas event. Sporting fluid movement that would allow for running, jumping, climbing, sliding, skating, and even flying, and along with that, massive gatherings for games and events and extensive customization, it almost seemed to the community that this game would be too good to be true. And then, another fastball was thrown our way, as it was told to us that Orion Drift would be supporting 200-player lobbies. No, this is not a joke, and no, this is not a typo in my script. Actual 200-player lobbies in virtual reality. And all of these combined with some later factors that will be mentioned in this video, I think I can safely predict that Orion Drift is going to be the new king of virtual reality. A game that has innovated this much to it becoming its own wow factor is sure to turn heads from communities not even belonging to virtual reality. And with all this being in mind, what's gonna happen to their first game, Gorilla Tag? A game that is already considered a titan in virtual reality. Well, here's where my opinion might get a little controversial, because I firmly believe that Orion Drift is going to kill Gorilla Tag. Let me explain. When developing a VR game, most companies usually like to go for something that usually follows the blueprint of a PC game. This strategy has worked wonders in the past for the VR industry, with notable names such as Population 1, Ghost of Tabor, Pavlov's Shack, and even The Walking Dead. But one thing that most people fail to realize is that the most popular VR games and the ones who stand the test of time are all original. Think games like Beat Saber, VR Chat, Rec Room, and the most popular one, Gorilla Tag. And the reason why these games were able to stand the test of time and remain so popular is because of a lot of factors. But the main one, in my opinion, is because these games are not held down by the constraints of a concept drafted up for PC. They can be as freeform and flexible with the mechanics of virtual reality as they want, and they aren't trying to appeal to an audience that would have to make a massive purchase in order to come play their game. In addition to all that, Orion Drift also offers the same thing that Gorilla Tag offers, which is a slim, easy gameplay loop with multiple activities. However, what another Axiom's done has taken this concept and driven it up to 11. Then of course, in addition, the most obvious factor, Orion Drift is the first ever true VR MMO game with 200 player servers, which is about 20 times the size of Gorilla Tag's lobby counts with only 10 players. And with all that combined, Orion Drift kills Gorilla Tag because it becomes the ultimate central social hub for virtual reality, being able to host a myriad of different players and activities within one server. But let's say for the sake of argument that you're still not convinced. Sure, all of those factors seem good and well, but Gorilla Tag is such an established game that not even the developers themselves can outdo it. And my rebuttal to that will be pulling out my wild card. Recognizing that no one development team is perfect, another Axiom is developing Orion Drift with one more factor in mind: community creations. See, a major problem with a lot of VR games, especially ones that are multiplayer and live service, is that eventually they have to run out of content or their gameplay loop will become boring. In seeing this problem, another Axiom is currently developing a level editor that will allow people to create their own community creations inside of Orion Drift. And because of this, the possibilities that Orion Drift can achieve are now endless. I mean, could you imagine this? Someone adds an FPS gun into the game, and now you can play first-person shooters inside of Orion Drift. Then, someone takes those weapons and mods them into a 200-player VR battle royale. That would automatically knock any VR battle royale out of the market because these guys will offer a way better experience that's easily accessible. And that's just only one hypothetical example. And now that you've heard all this, you probably want to jump into Orion Drift yourself through early access. And for that, I'll leave a link to their Discord where you can apply for early access in the description. And along with that, also maybe subscribe and leave a like. Because with that said, thanks for watching.